Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going back in time a little bit, looking at WordPress and why it might still matter to you in 2025. It's funny. You sent over this blog post. It's in French. Pretty impressive. The title is Pourquoi WordPress est-il encore le choix le plus flexible pour votre projet web en 2025? Which basically means why WordPress is still the most flexible choice for your web project in 2025. And, it seems like these days everyone's moving away from open source and towards software as a service. But WordPress is still going strong. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, that's a great question. The internet changes so fast, right? But WordPress has been around forever, it seems, and it still powers a huge chunk of the web, like over 40% of all websites, according to W3 Tech. So it's not just people being nostalgic. There's a real reason it's still relevant.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty big number. But a lot of people probably still think of WordPress as just for blogs. Is that outdated?
For sure. WordPress got to start with blogs. That's true. But it's become a way more powerful content management system. You can do a lot more than people realize. Think e-commerce sites with WooCommerce, membership platforms, even portfolio websites for artists and designers. It's this adaptability that makes WordPress so interesting.
I see. So why is being flexible so important in 2025? I mean, the internet has always been about change, right?
Yeah, but things are changing even faster now. Think about the metaverse that's coming, all the new types of social media, and everyone wants things personalized. Businesses need a platform that can change quickly to keep up. They don't want to rebuild their website every time a new trend comes along. WordPress gives you that kind of agility.
So it's like having a strong foundation that you can build anything on top of.
Yeah.
But you see all these companies using those all-in-one platforms. Aren't those easier to use than something like WordPress, where you might have to do more yourself?
There are definitely pros and cons to each. Those all-in-one solutions, they can be simpler, especially when you're just starting out. But as you grow and you want more control over your website, that's where WordPress really shines.
Okay. So maybe it takes a little more time to learn WordPress, but you get more freedom and control in the long run.
Exactly. And there's another really important thing about WordPress, the community.
Yeah, the blog post talked about that too. To be honest, I always take those community claims with a grain of salt. Seems like every company says that now. But is the WordPress community really that important?
It's more than just marketing. It's a global network of developers, designers, users, all contributing to the platform. So there are constantly new plugins, themes, resources, and it means you can always get help if you need it. Try getting that from a big corporation with a closed system.
That's a good point. It's like a built-in tech support team. But there are over 60,000 plugins. That's a little overwhelming. Where do you even start?
You're right, that's a lot. Easy to get lost. But remember, you don't need to use all of them. Think about what you actually need on your website, and then look for plugins that do those specific things.
Okay, so WordPress is flexible, big community, but let's be real, most people using WordPress probably aren't coders. How easy is it to actually use?
Being user-friendly is a big part of why WordPress is still so popular. It's really powerful and complex behind the scenes. But the interface, it's designed to make sense even for beginners. Creating content, editing it, managing images, customizing the look of your site, it's all pretty straightforward.
So you don't have to be a tech genius to build a good-looking website.
Not at all. That's a huge plus for businesses or anyone who wants to focus on their work. They don't want to spend all their time messing with technical stuff.
I get it. But
Yeah.
having a user-friendly website is only half the battle. If no one can find your website, what's the point? How's WordPress for SEO?
That French blog post actually brings up a good point. SEO isn't going anywhere even in 2025. And WordPress is built to be SEO friendly from the start. You get clean code, customizable permalinks. It's designed to work well on phones, all things that search engines like.
Great, but what about people who aren't SEO experts?
Well, you're in luck because WordPress has a ton of SEO plugins like Yoast that walk you through everything, making sure you're using the right keywords. And this is where that community comes in again. There's always someone making new tools or sharing helpful tips to help you stay ahead of the SEO game.
It seems like the community is pretty important. But let's talk about another big thing for businesses. Cost. Can you afford to use WordPress? Especially when you add up hosting, plugins, themes, it feels like it could get expensive fast.
Well, that's the great thing about open source. WordPress itself is totally free. You can download it right now and start building a website without spending anything on software.
Wow. That's pretty amazing when everything seems to have a subscription these days. But what about those other costs you mentioned? Like hosting, plugins, themes? Those aren't free, right?
Yeah, you do have to think about those.
Yeah.
But even there, WordPress is pretty flexible. You can find good hosting for just a few bucks a month. And a lot of the popular plugins have free versions too. They have enough features for most people.
So you're saying that, yeah, there are costs, but it's still way cheaper than using some proprietary software.
Exactly. And that's huge for businesses, especially if you're just starting out. It means you can spend your money on other important things, like marketing or making great content.
Okay, cool. So we've got flexibility, cost effectiveness, a great community, and it's easy to use. But what about how it looks? Can you really make a website that looks good with WordPress? I feel like a lot of people think of WordPress as having those kind of boring, generic blog templates.
Yeah, we need to get rid of that idea. WordPress has come a long way in terms of design. You can really customize things now. There are thousands of professionally designed themes out there. Many of them are free or really cheap, and you can tweak them to match your brand.
So even if I'm not a designer and I don't have a ton of money to hire one, I can still make my website look good.
Totally. And if you do have design skills, WordPress lets you get really creative. You can change the code, create custom pages, use advanced design tools. There are so many possibilities.
That's awesome. All that customization is great. But what about speed? People are impatient these days. If a website takes too long to load, they'll just leave. How does WordPress do with performance?
Performance is super important. It affects user experience and SEO. And WordPress is actually built for speed. It's designed to be lightweight and efficient. Plus, there are a bunch of optimization techniques and plugins to make things load even faster.
But I've heard WordPress can get slow, especially if you have a lot of plugins.
Yeah, that's a common worry. And it's true, too many plugins can slow things down. But that's where managing your website well comes in. Be careful about which plugins you use, keep them updated, make sure your hosting is good for WordPress. If you do those things, your WordPress site can be super fast.
Okay, so looking ahead, we're thinking about WordPress in 2025. What trends are you seeing? That will shape the platform going forward. This blog post seems pretty optimistic about the future of WordPress. But is that realistic?
I think it's more than just optimism. WordPress is always changing, and there's some really exciting things happening. One of the biggest things to watch is AI, artificial intelligence.
AI and WordPress. That sounds interesting, but I don't really get it. What would that look like?
Think about plugins that use AI to analyze your content, and then suggest ways to make it better for SEO, or to make it easier to read, or AI tools that can automatically write summaries of your articles, or even create social media posts for you.
Oh, wow. So AI could be like a virtual assistant, helping us make our content better and doing those boring, repetitive tasks. That would free up so much time to focus on the more creative stuff.
Exactly. And AI is only getting better, so we'll see even more cool ways to use it with WordPress, like personalized content recommendations, chatbots, maybe even AI design tools.
Do you think AI will eventually replace humans in WordPress? Or will it be more like a tool that helps us?
I think it'll be more of a collaboration. AI can handle the data and repetitive stuff, but humans are still better at strategy, storytelling,
Well,
connecting with other humans.
right. It's not about replacing us. It's about helping us do more. Are there any other trends you're excited about?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really interested in headless WordPress. Have you heard of that?
Headless WordPress sounds a little scary. Is that just for developers?
It might sound technical, but it's actually pretty simple, basically. You use WordPress to manage your content, but you separate it from the front end,
Yeah.
the part that people see.
So I can use WordPress behind the scenes, but then use something else to design the website.
Yep. Instead of using the usual WordPress themes and templates, you can use things like React or Vue.js to build a totally custom experience.
Oh, I see. So you get the power of WordPress, but you can make the website look however you want.
It's a game changer for businesses that want something really unique and interactive. Plus, you can use your content in different places: websites, apps, digital signs.
So headless WordPress isn't just about making a cool website. It's about being able to use your content anywhere.
Exactly. It's about building a content platform that can adapt to the future, whatever that future looks like.
I like that. So we've got AI and headless WordPress. Any other predictions?
I think we'll see even more focus on performance and security. Websites are getting more complex. They have to handle more data. So it's important that they load fast and are safe from hackers.
It sounds like WordPress is ready for those challenges.
For sure. The people who work on WordPress are always improving performance and security. And there are tons of plugins and tools to help people optimize their sites and protect them.
But with all this new technology, is WordPress going to leave some people behind? Will it still be easy enough for regular people to use?
I think it's a really important question. A lot of people are probably wondering that. Is WordPress becoming too complicated?
Yeah. Too complicated for the average person.
It's a valid concern,
Mm-hmm.
but I really believe that WordPress will stay accessible, even as it evolves. One of the best things about WordPress is that it's easy to use, and I don't see that changing.
So you're saying that even with AI and headless architecture, it'll still be easy to use?
Exactly. The WordPress community knows that it needs to be both innovative and usable. They're working hard to make sure anyone can use it, no matter their technical skills.
That's good to hear. Because I think a lot of people like WordPress because it feels empowering. Like you can build something yourself. You don't have to rely on a developer or a big tech company.
You're absolutely right. It's about democratizing the web, giving individuals and small businesses the same power as big organizations.
That reminds me of this French blog post. It says WordPress is the most flexible choice in 2025. But it seems like flexibility is more than just a feature. It's like a core part of WordPress.
I totally agree. Flexibility is built into WordPress. It's open source, so anyone can help develop it. It's customizable, so you can make it fit your needs, and it's always evolving to keep up with the web.
And that goes back to accessibility and democratization. It's about giving people the freedom to build what they want, not being limited by closed systems.
Exactly, and that's why WordPress is so strong. It doesn't depend on any one company or technology. It's driven by the community, and that community is incredibly passionate and resourceful.
We've talked a lot about the technical stuff, but what about the human side of WordPress? How does the community shape its future?
The community is everything for WordPress. It's the reason it's developed so much. It's the reason it's so innovative and inclusive. It's a global network of people who love WordPress, and they're always sharing their knowledge, their skills, their support.
Now I'm starting to understand why people get so excited about WordPress. It's more than just software. It's a movement, a vision of a more open and accessible web.
Yeah, it really is. And that sense of community is why I think WordPress will continue to be successful. It's not just about the technology, it's about the people who use it, contribute to it, and believe in it.
You said something earlier about WordPress being a tool. It really stuck with me. It is a powerful tool, but it's up to us to decide how to use it.
I'm glad you brought that up. Technology itself isn't good or bad. It's all about how people use it.
So the future of WordPress isn't set in stone. We're all shaping it together.
That's a great way to think about it. We have a responsibility to use WordPress ethically, to make sure it benefits everyone.
It reminds us that technology is about more than just code. It's about people, values, the kind of world we want.
And I think WordPress can be a force for good, with its open source nature and its amazing community.
I think that's a great place to wrap things up. We've covered a lot in this deep dive on WordPress, from its history to its features, its strengths and challenges, and what it might look like in the future. But the most important thing to remember is that WordPress is more than just a platform. It's a community, a movement, and a reflection of our values.
It's been a pleasure talking about this with you. It's clear you've put a lot of thought into this, and I appreciate your insights.
Thanks for joining us. I hope our listeners have a better understanding of WordPress now and its role in the future of the web.
Me too. And if you're listening and you've never used WordPress, give it a try. You might be surprised by what you can do.
That's a great idea. So whether you're a WordPress expert or just curious, keep learning, keep creating, and keep exploring what's possible with WordPress. And remember, the WordPress community is always there to help.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into the digital world. Until then, keep diving deep.